We are gonna start our meal prep off with the easiest thing ever and one of my favorites. I love egg salad, and this is just a little bit of a healthier version. We're gonna use Greek yogurt instead of mayo. So I already have my eggs boiled or hard boiled. You can do that however you want. I like to use my Instant Pot. I do the like 4-4-4 method. I know the 5 method is super popular, but I kind of like how the 4 turns out. So I cook it on high pressure for 4 minutes. I let it sit in the pot while the pressure is releasing naturally for 4 minutes. Then I release the rest of the pressure, and then I put them in an ice bath for 4 minutes, and then I peel them. So, and I like my egg salad chunky. You can chop yours up however you want. I'm just doing mine chunky. So I'm gonna do, let's see, 8 eggs, and that way we can have it 2 days each. Yeah, so let me take out 8 eggs because I'm gonna forget. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I hard boiled 12. So that leaves 4 for the kiddos to snack on. So I'm gonna get these back in the fridge. So now I've got my eggs that I'm gonna be using. I'm going to just chop them up and get them in my bowl. Okay, I've got my 8 eggs chopped in there. Next up, I'm gonna do all my chopping first. I'm adding in some pickles. I love Clausen pickles, they're my favorite. You can use any kind. I'm gonna do 4 spears. You could add less if you just want a little bit. You could add more if you really love that pickle. But again, I'm just going in with 4. And what I like to do just to make them kind of match my eggs is I cut the spear in half, and then I'll just kind of chop it from there and just add it to my bowl. Ta-da. All right, let me do the rest of these. Okay, last thing we're gonna chop is some fresh dill. I love fresh dill in cold salads like this, like chicken salad. It's so delicious. So I'm just kind of pulling off the pieces from the bigger, thicker stems. I'm not gonna be chopping those up. And this I do not measure, I'm just eyeballing. So that was off of 1 stem. I think I'm gonna do another stem. But if you don't like dill, you could totally omit this. You don't have to use dill. It definitely adds a little bit more flavor. And then if you don't have fresh, you could totally use dry also. I love fresh dill. Okay, that looks good. And then I'm just gonna like roughly chop this. I'll get my hand out of the way. Actually, let me get more over for y'all. There. So I just kind of put it in a pile, and then I'm just gonna roughly chop it all the way around a couple times. Normally I'll like try to hold it in place, but this is working just fine. Push that off. Oh, I can already smell it. It smells so good. All right. So I'm gonna add that in my bowl. And that is the last thing we are chopping. Now we're just kind of adding in a few more ingredients and our egg salad will be ready. Okay, a few more ingredients. I have just regular distilled white vinegar here. I'm gonna add in 2 teaspoons. Actually, probably a little less. Probably 1 teaspoon. I only did half. But I do like the flavor that it gives. So I've got that in there. And then I just eyeball the mustard. I'm gonna say 4 teaspoons. We're gonna do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. I just make 4. We're gonna do 5. 5 teaspoons of mustard. Egg salad, you kind of just mix things up, you know? Okay, and then here is the Greek yogurt I'm using. So 0% milk fat, just plain Greek yogurt. The fresh one, so I've got to open it all up. Okay, and then I'm doing about 8 tablespoons. Let me just get all this extra out of here. I should have grabbed a bigger spoon. And lastly, we're gonna do a little pinch of pepper. I'm not gonna add any salt because sometimes I will. I'm gonna taste it first. So let's mix everything together. Mixing it all up. This is a really good consistency. I don't think I'm gonna need, I thought maybe I would add some more Greek yogurt, but I kind of like this. Now we eat this different ways. Sometimes we'll just have it as egg salad and we'll have like the Quest, any kind of protein chip on the side. Sometimes I'll do it with crackers if we just want a little, you could do it with the Quest chips too, but they're kind of thin. I'll just use different kinds of crackers like Ritz or saltines, but our favorite way is to have it as a sandwich, and I like the Dave's Killer Bread, what is it called? It's thin sliced. It's really, really good. I have it in my outside fridge. Otherwise, I would grab it. I'm being lazy. I don't want to go get it. But there we have it. And this will make about 4 sandwiches. So we will be able to have this, Mark and I, for 2 days for lunch. And because I'm having it on a sandwich, I'm just going to leave it in the bowl. And when we go to make it that day, we'll put it in a little container, get our bread in a little baggie so Mark can take it to work. I won't make the sandwiches ahead of time because the bread will obviously get soggy, but there we go. Let me just taste test this. Sometimes I'll add salt if I feel like we need it, but the mustard does it. You do not need salt when you're using mustard like that. Okay, that's good. And the pickles are already pretty salty. There you have it. I know it's not the most beautiful thing, but it is something super easy to prep for lunch to just keep yourself on track so you're not scrounging last minute or getting fast food. This was, just an easy thing to prep ahead of time. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a cover on this and get it in the fridge. And now we're gonna do a sheet pan meal, which is another favorite thing of mine. Just minimal prep, a lot of chopping, but then you just stick it in the oven and you've got lunch done for a few days. Okay, so for our sheet pan meal, I'm gonna go ahead and preheat my oven to 400. And I do have a few things I'm gonna chop up, but first, you could totally chop things, add them to your baking sheet and kind of just use your hands or spatula to mix it up. I am gonna dirty an extra bowl. I've just found it easier for sheet pan meals when I'm mixing everything together to do it in a bowl, and then I can just spread it out on my sheet pan. So first up, I took the easy route for the butternut squash because sometimes this can be a pain to cut up, and I just got these cubes. This is a 16-ounce bag, so I'm just gonna get that in my bowl. Actually might need a bigger bowl, but that's all right. We'll make it work. And then I tried to get a 1 pound bag of the halved Brussels sprouts, but they did not have it. So I was substituted. I did a Walmart grocery delivery. So I do have this 12-ounce bag that have already been halved for me. So I'm gonna add that to my bowl. Yeah, I'm gonna need a bigger bowl, but that's okay. And then this was what they substituted me with, was this bag of Brussels. I'm gonna go ahead and just add, I love Brussels sprouts, so I'm gonna add the whole thing, but I am gonna go ahead and half these. So I just dirtied that bowl for nothing, but that's okay. That kind of bowl is super easy to hand wash. So I'm just gonna half a bag of Brussels sprouts and just add them in here, and then I'll just transfer all this to a bigger bowl because I have a few more things that we are going to add in. Okay, I got my Brussels chopped, added it to a bigger bowl because I've got a few more things I've got to chop up. Next, I'm gonna do this entire red onion. So I'm just gonna chop this up and get it in my bowl. And I'm just gonna do kind of a rough dice on this. And that makes it quick and easy also. Got my onion in the bowl. Next up is already cooked bacon. You can use whatever kind you want. I got 8 slices here. This is the Hormel, like ready cooked. It's already cooked. You could just eat it right out of the package. You could throw it in the microwave to heat it up a little bit. So I'm just going to roughly chop all 8 pieces. And then get it in my bowl. Okay, last thing we're gonna be chopping is some sausage. So I have 2 packages. There's 4 links in each pack. I'm gonna do both of them, so all 8 links. But it's the Adele's chicken and apple smoked chicken sausage. So we're gonna go ahead and just slice these and add them to my bowl. And again, I'm gonna do both packages, so all 8 links. This is gonna make several lunches. Like this will feed us for the rest of the week. So we'll have the egg salad for 2 days, and then the rest of the week we'll just have this sheet pan meal, and we'll be set for our lunches. Okay, I've got everything in my bowl. Last thing I'm adding in is some pure maple syrup. So I'm gonna do a 1/4 cup. Just add that in. And then I'm just gonna do my best to get that maple syrup kind of mixed into everything. So just got a big spoon and I'm gonna mix it all up. Okay, my oven is ready. So I'm just taking some avocado oil and coating the bottom of my pan. You can use olive oil, whatever you want. And then I'm gonna get everything spread out. I definitely have a lot on my pan since I'm using extra Brussels sprouts. Oh, and we're having our garage door opener installed. So if you guys hear drilling, that's what that is. Oh, I lost a broccoli. No broccoli left, or not broccoli, Brussels. No Brussels sprout left behind. Okay, so I'm going to just spread this out. I'm gonna cook this a little longer than I normally do as well, but this is definitely gonna feed us for the rest of the week for sure. Okay, and then last but not least, I change the seasonings that I add on here. Sometimes I'll just do salt and pepper, nice and easy. Maybe oregano, thyme. It really just depends on what kind of flavor profile you want. I picked this up at Sam's Club not long ago and I haven't used it yet. So this is the Kinder's Roasted Veggie All-Purpose Veggie Rub. And it has garlic, lemon peel, onion, paprika, sea salt. It says spices. It just sounded good. So we have not been disappointed with any of the Kinder's seasonings. And since this is new, I've got to take the, see, I have not used it. I've take the little paper top off. The seal. Smells good. Okay. So I'm just going to, wrong side, sprinkle this on top. I'm not going to mix this in or anything because, so I have my oven set to 400 degrees. I'm going to put this in for 20 minutes and then I'm going to take it out and give it a good stir, mix it up. And then I'm going to put it back into the oven for another 10, maybe 15 minutes depending. So I'll show you guys when it's all done. All right, so I did 20 minutes. I mixed it up just a little bit, put it in for an extra 15 minutes, and it looks and smells so delicious. I'm actually gonna have a little bit of this for lunch today since it's fresh out of the oven. And then I will just divvy up the rest in a couple different bowls and we can eat on it for lunch the rest of the week. Not really a meal prep, but since my oven was already at 400 for lunch, I am gonna go ahead and bake up the chestnuts that I got from Trader Joe's. So if you guys watched that grocery haul, I love this time of year when I can get chestnuts, and I just do the easy peasy route where I bake them. There's several different ways that you can do chestnuts. This is the way that works the best for me. Peeling them can be kind of hard, but all you do is you take the flattest side. Sometimes, like this is a perfect one that I pulled out. Sometimes a chestnut will have 2 flat sides. Just pick kind of the flattest one and you're going to make an X in it. Doesn't really matter the size. Just be careful, take your sharpest knife and you're just going to cut an X. I don't know if you can see that, there you go. See the X, cut an X, and just put it on your baking sheet. So like this one has 1 flat side and 1 rounded side. So I'm gonna do the flat side and make an X. And then after I've made an X on all of these, I am going to bake this for about 20 minutes. No matter what, out of any bag of chestnuts that I buy, there are going to be a few in my bag that are moldy. No matter what, like every single time I buy chestnuts, there are a few that are moldy. I don't know why that is. Like, I feel like this one right here, and this is what made me think of it, I think this one's gonna be moldy. But it's so hard to peel these before you bake them. Like, it's just super hard, but this feels like it's gonna be moldy. But they're not all gonna be good. Just not the case. But they are so good, and it's really not that hard to do. As long as you have a really sharp knife to get that X in there, it's really not that hard to do the X. Now, peeling them is gonna be a little bit more difficult. I'm gonna let them cool off. Not too much, just cool enough for me to be able to handle. Because obviously the warmer they are, the easier they are going to be to peel. And as they bake, I'll show you when they're done. But the X that I make, the skin on here is going to kind of like crinkle and bend a little bit. So when they are done, I'll be able to just pull the skin back and get my chestnut out. If you guys have never had chestnut or a chestnut, it does not have a nutty taste at all. It has a slight sweetness to it, but it can be a little, I don't know what the word, mealy maybe. It's soft, it's not hard, it's not like a hard nut, it's more soft, and it does feel a little weird. I'm not selling this the best, but I feel like you should at least try them. My husband is not a fan, and only one of my kiddos enjoys them. The rest of them, they're just like, no, chestnuts are not for me. Now, I have had chestnuts before that were like roasted over an open fire when I lived in Germany, and it has been many, many years since then. But what I can remember is they're nothing compared to this. This is like second best for sure. It's not the best chestnut out there. I think Germany definitely does them right. But since I can't really have chestnuts from Germany here in Texas, this is the next best thing. So this is what I've been doing every year. Just buying chestnuts where I can find them and baking them in my oven. Maybe one year, if I ever do have a home that has a fireplace, I didn't even think to do this in the last house. But if I ever do have a fireplace again, maybe I'll look up how to do that. We don't even have like a fire pit or something, but I'll have to look that up, how to actually do them like over an open flame. And if there's anything else that they do in Germany that we just don't do here, and how to make it more authentic, like this song, Chestnuts on an Open Fire. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of this bag. There's still several more in here, and get them in my 400-degree oven for 20 minutes. Okay, chestnuts fresh out of the oven. I'm gonna let them cool just a little bit, and then I will start peeling. I already peeled one and ate it. So I'm gonna peel the rest. I just wanted to show you. You kind of just peel it off in pieces. I should look up different ways to do chestnuts and try them all out. I know this isn't the original way that I used to do them. I just cannot remember. I did them differently years and years ago. But I just can't remember how I did it. That one came off pretty easily. I got lucky. They don't all come off like that. The first one, it was like in pieces. But this is the chestnut. It's still warm. And like I said, it's slightly sweet and super, super soft, and not for everybody. I actually really love chestnuts with eggnog. Like if I have a small glass of eggnog, and then I'll have 3 or 4 chestnuts, and it's so delicious to me. I feel like they go really well together. So try that out. Yeah, see, this one's gonna be difficult. Sometimes I'll push them, squeeze them together, and then sometimes, like this is just like the first one, they're gonna come apart in pieces, and I'll just eat it. So I probably won't peel all these right away, because I don't want to have to eat all of them, and I don't want to save them in pieces, but they do have like a little skin on them also that you want to try to take off the best you can. If you eat that, it's going to be a little crunchy and not so delicious. But I just wanted to go ahead and share that. just in case you've never tried chestnuts before and you were curious, I feel like I share them at least once every year in some kind of video. And then I always get comments like, oh, I've never had chestnuts, or I didn't know that that's, you know, all you had to do was roast them in the oven. So just in case you've never had chestnuts and you wanted to give them a try, the worst part is peeling them. So if you guys are like chestnut fanatics and you have an easier way, I feel like I always forget how hard some of these can be every year, because I'll get a few that will just pop out right away, like that second one. This one's being really difficult. There we go. Well, I'm glad I showed you how difficult they can be though. So it can definitely be time consuming, but if you guys know a better way, definitely let me know so I can pick up another bag in a week or two and try that way out. But there is a roasted chestnut. I definitely ate way too many of these while I was peeling them, and my thumb hurts. It's looking a little red and it's a little sore from peeling all those chestnuts. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this, I just used this bowl to put them in as I was peeling them. So I'm gonna get them into a container with a lid and just keep them in the fridge. The kids will probably snack on a few after school. And then speaking of the kids, my bread box has been empty for a few days. So I was going through my pantry to see if there was anything that I could make, and I've had this for quite a while. It is the chocolate chip Kodiak mix, and I don't want to make pancakes or waffles or anything like that. We actually have some in the freezer, so I don't need that. But on the back, they have this recipe for coffee chip muffins. I'm not gonna put coffee in it. I'm just gonna make chocolate chip muffins. So it's got the mix in there, some milk, brown sugar, butter, 2 bananas, which I don't have super ripe bananas, but they're ripe enough for me to smash, so that'll work. And then an egg. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix all these ingredients up into a bowl and get that going so the kids can have some chocolate chip muffins after school. Going to start off by preheating my oven. Actually, that's what I needed at. So 350 degrees. I've already got my pan out, and then I love these silicone liners. I'll link them. I got them from Amazon. They're just so easy to pop out any muffins that you make, or cupcakes. I'm just a huge fan of these versus the paper ones. Sometimes they stick, and just using this, they don't always turn out the same. So I love these silicone liners. Got myself a bowl. Let's go ahead and start mixing these up. Okay, so I am, like I said, just following the directions on the back of the box, but I'm not gonna put coffee in these. So I'm putting in 2 cups. I think it's gonna be the rest of my bag here. Let me set that down because I'm about to drop this. I mean, it's more like 2.5. I'm gonna go ahead and add in the rest. I'm just gonna add a little bit of extra milk. That way I don't have just that little bit hanging out in my pantry. So since I'm using more of the mix, I'm gonna add a little bit extra liquid just to help. So instead of 3/4 cup milk, I'm adding in 1 cup of milk. That should be enough. A 1/2 cup of brown sugar, a 1/4 cup, which is 4 tablespoons of melted butter, and then 2 mashed bananas. These took me a second to mash up since they weren't like super ripe, but that's okay. They still had a little bit of firmness left in them. And last thing is just 1 egg. If you did want to add coffee, let's see, and you were like making these with any other mix, it does say 3 tablespoons of instant coffee if you guys wanted to add that in. All right, I'm just gonna use my hand mixer and get all these ingredients nice and mixed together. All right, my oven is preheated to 350. I'm using a big ice cream scoop, and I'm just gonna put 1 scoop into each. That actually might be too much. We'll see. They're just gonna be big muffins, I think. Well, we'll see how it goes when I bake them. They're definitely gonna rise a little bit, but I'm gonna go ahead and get my mix in here. All right, that cookie scoop was a little bigger than I thought, or ice cream scoop. So I did steal a spoonful from each and managed to get almost 2 full pans. And now I'm just gonna put a few chocolate chips. I have a big bag here on the top of them. And then I'm gonna stick them in the oven for 18 minutes, let them bake. So I guess I'm really not following the instructions completely. This is what happens. This is what happens. Feel free, you're in your own kitchen, okay? Just do what you want. So I know the kids will enjoy these after school today. But like I said, I'm just gonna finish adding a few chocolate chips to the top. Whoa, that one got a lot, yum. And then bake them at 350 for 18 minutes. 18 minutes was perfect and yum. These smell so good. I am totally gonna bust into one after it cools off a little bit. And I am glad that I took a little bit off of each of these because they would have gone over a little bit. But the kids are gonna be super excited to have something freshly baked for them after school today. And this is the last thing that I'm going to be meal prepping today and for this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with me a little bit, doing a little cooking / baking in the kitchen. If you did, give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe if you are new, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.